Paul Bradbury, our expert in Croatia. Paul? Come on up, Paul. So Paul has been here for the last 20 years, so if any of you have any questions about this beautiful region, this is our go-to person.
Thank you. I'm not quite sure how to follow that, but I'll try. I'm a fat Brit from Manchester who moved to Croatia 22 years ago. I've been living there ever since, full-time, best place in the world, apart from its neighbour Liberland, of course. I first heard about Liberland on April the 14th, 2015, a day after its founding. And before I start, can I just have a show of hands? How many people here on the 10th anniversary of this country were at the first anniversary conference in Baranja, in Hotel Lug? And Mr. President, keep your hand down, because you weren't there. Anybody else there? 1, 2... Yeah, so almost nobody. So I mean, to me, it's been really interesting today to come here... Huh?
Who was at the second?
You're at the second?
Who was at the second?
The second?
Second anniversary.
We're talking about the first anniversary.
I don't know. Keep asking.
Well, we're sticking with the first. And so to me, like, I'm here today in this in the Art Village, my first time here. I'm hearing about space programs. I'm seeing all these amazing speakers from all around the world, loads of different ideas, loads of energy. It's fantastic. And on the anniversary of the 10th year of the founding, I thought it would be interesting to go back to how it all started and what it looked like back then. Because I think a lot of people who are already on the Liberland bandwagon today don't quite understand just how completely bizarre the whole story was. So once the president and his two friends went and put the flag in, it became a global story within 24 hours at the New York Times, and within, I think, a month or so, we had 500,000 people were putting applications for citizenship. And for me, I run a news portal called Total Croatia News, which is the biggest English language news portal for Croatia. Wow, finally a fan. To me, it was really interesting to find that there was this really interesting story, very bizarre, right on the border. And so I contacted the president and I said, could we do an interview? And of course, the president said he'd be delighted because he wanted to get coverage in the Croatian media to start the process of talking to the Croatian authorities. And so we became sort of like Facebook sort of friends and messaging. And then he invited me to the first ever conference in Baranja, just across the border in Croatia, in Hotel Lug. And I was coming from Split. It was on a Sunday. The only flight at Osijek airport that day was Split to Osijek. The president told me that he would send the Liberland limousine to collect me. And I thought, this is either going to be a Cadillac or not a Cadillac. And there were 9 people on the plane. And when we got to Osijek airport, there were no buses, there were no taxis. There were 8 cars waiting. And all other 8 passengers went off in their cars. And I was left alone on a Sunday afternoon, let down by the president of Liberland, wondering what's coming next. And I messaged him, I said, Mr. President, did you forget I'm coming? And he said, I don't see your limousine here. And he said, I've been banned from coming into Croatia, so I can't come to the conference, but don't worry, Damir will be there in 20 minutes. No idea who Damir was. And when Damir turned up, it really wasn't the presidential limousine. But that's how it started, and we had the first ever conference in Hotel Lug in Baranja. The president was banned from coming in. The internet was so bad that we had to turn off our phones to make sure the internet was strong enough so that the president could give his address by Skype, and which he did from just across the river over in Serbia. And I looked around, and to me it was a really, really bizarre story that this country can start to exist. And in the room that day, there was the Daily Telegraph, there was the founder of the Pirate Party, there were anarchists, there were sort of freedom lovers, there were real estate investors, and I just thought, this is one seriously insane story. And also, there was the secret police from Croatia, they were around. I felt morally outraged that in 2016, when this thing took place, that the president, who was an EU citizen with no criminal record that I was aware of, was prevented from going into another country, an EU country, while at the same time 650,000 migrants were walking from Syria all the way through Croatia to Germany and to Sweden. And so I've never been very smart about doing the right thing. So I got the phone number of the PR person from the Ministry of the Interior from Croatia. And I called up and I said, can you explain to me why a legal EU citizen is detained from entry while we have all these migrants going? And we had a back and forth, and I said, can I then have your name, please? Why do you need my name? Because I'm going to put it in my article. And I published the article about how ridiculous it was. And I've had so many problems in Croatia since then because of that. But it was the right thing to do at the time. Over the last 10 years or so, I've met the president at Munich Airport, Novi Sad, in the third anniversary, where he was kind enough to give me my citizenship and diplomatic passport, which has now expired, so we need to renew that. And also I met him in Osijek when he was allowed back into Croatia the last time a couple of years ago. And I've always been struck by his enthusiasm, determination, but really what started out as a concept on 7 square kilometers of disputed land between Croatia and Serbia has turned into a global phenomenon of concepts and ideas, and it's brought all these people today that it's so much more than just the 7 square kilometers that it all started out with. The last time I saw the president before today was a really, really special moment. I heard that, or he announced that now Croatia and Liberland had a border, and there was a process that you could actually visit Liberland, and you go through the visa process and the passport checking on the Croatian side. I didn't believe it, but I said, I'm going to try it. So I called the top Croatian photo agency, Pixel, and I said, there's this crazy story. I'm going to go. Do you want to send a photographer? And then you can send all the pictures to all the other media and stuff. And they were so intrigued by the story that they decided to come with me. And so it was, I think it was August 2023, I think, that I got on this rickety boat and we went down from Latina. And we also had the CNN crew from Prague. They were doing a story. And I finally were coming down the Danube and we're entering Liberland waters. And then the Croatian police boat comes. And now we're in Schengen, so there is no reason why there should be, if you're coming from Hungary, there's no reason why there should be any check whatsoever. And so they stopped, they asked for our passports, and then I said in Croatian, can you tell me precisely why we're being stopped? And the response was, you're Paul Bradbury, aren't you? We've read every single one of your articles. And my daughter was with me, and she said, Dad, shut the fuck up. And then we came into Liberland Beach, and there was a Liberland Beach bar, and there was the president looking very, very sexy in, I won't say a full suit. He had a suit top on, and his suit trousers were off because he was just sunbathing a little bit, waiting for CNN. And then he saw we were coming in, he put his trousers on, and then we had a beer together, and it was fantastic. So I just want to give you a little bit of flavour of what it was like back then, because a lot of people have heard about this concept and have come in, but this really is a fabulous, fabulous story. I didn't think it would last more than 6 months, if I'm totally honest. It's been a pleasure to observe the really bizarre sort of nature of the whole thing and to see different ideas coming forward. And it's now 10 years, and I would say happy birthday, Liberland, and congratulations, Mr. President.